Hey everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. On this episode of Get Your Grub On, we're gonna be making a pumpkin mac and cheese. Now this is one of those, it sounds crazy, but it's really good. It's not sweet, but it's a little bit more on the savory side. You get a little bit of those fall flavors going out of this little guy right here. So I'm excited to show you, not a lot of ingredients, but we'll do this step by step like we always do. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our pumpkin in half, and then we're gonna roast this off until it's fork tender. You ready to get this going? Because I'm ready to show you. Now before we cut into this, here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need whatever pasta you want. Typically you would go with an elbow mac, but you know, I wanna do something different. Of course, you gotta make your roux. I don't normally make a roux for my cheese sauce, but we're gonna try something different today. I'm actually gonna go with some cake flour, of course, butter. You gotta also use a little bit of some cream as well. Now, the pumpkin, we are going to go with a fresh pumpkin. I don't recommend using those giant pumpkins that we use to carve jack-o'-lanterns because those probably won't cook off as well. But we're gonna cook this with a little bit of some olive oil, some seasoning until, again, until it's fork tender. Now, of course, to make your cheese sauce, you also gotta have your cheeses as well. So we're gonna go with some mild cheddar, a little bit of Gouda for that little bit of smokiness. And what is a pumpkin mac and cheese without some seasonings? So we're gonna get some nutmeg, a little bit of some garlic pepper, and some thyme. Now, if you're dairy-free or vegan, you can totally swap out for plant-based butter, milk, vegan cheeses, but it's gonna give you a slightly different texture. Again, let's get this pumpkin ready to be roasted off. Very simple. All you're gonna wanna do is try to find a good way to cut it without, you know, losing control. But we're gonna cut this down the middle. Let's scoop these seeds out, or you could do it after you're done roasting. But for today's purposes, we're just gonna scoop these out now. And then all we're gonna do, get olive oil, pour a little bit into our pumpkins. Season with whatever seasoning you want. We're going with garlic pepper today. Then we're just gonna wrap this up. We're gonna bake this off at 400 for about 30 minutes or until fork tender. Now what we're gonna do is just cook off about 8 ounces of pasta for about 8 to 10 minutes. All right, we are going to start on our roux. What we're gonna do is get about 5 tablespoons of butter and melt that down. Next, we're gonna get a couple tablespoons of flour and put that in there. Now for today's purposes, I'm going with cake flour, mostly because that's all I had. So we're also gonna see what happens when you use cake flour. Now you wanna kinda mix this all up and let it cook down for a couple minutes. This step is absolutely crucial because you wanna cook out that flour taste. Now this is where I like to start adding a little bit of seasoning. We're gonna add a little pinch of nutmeg and some dried thyme and continue to whisk this up so that way those flavors can marry while we are cooking down our roux. Now I'm making mine a little bit on the thinner side because you have that pumpkin to help thicken up your sauce as well. And then next, we're gonna start adding our cream to our pan until it's nice and silky smooth. All right, now for the star of this recipe, we are getting our pumpkin that was roasted down. We're gonna add this to our pot. Yeah, buddy. And with our whisk, we're just gonna continue to whisk this up until it's fully incorporated. And now we're starting to get a little bit of that orange color out of it as you continue to break it up. All right, now we're gonna start adding our cheeses to make our mac and cheese sauce. We're gonna go with a couple small handfuls of our cheddar. And we're gonna start stirring this all in until it's fully melted. Then you also wanna add a little bit of our Gouda cheese for that smokiness, textured scent to it. And then we're just gonna continue to stir it in. Now, if it gets to be too thick, add some more cream, milk. You can add broth, but don't use water. Just make sure that when you add that in, it's nice and warm so that way you don't break your sauce. Now, the last thing you wanna do is season with a little bit of salt, pepper, whatever you like really, but we're just gonna add some salt and mix that in. Now for the best part, we get to add our pasta to our sauce and mix it all in. Now we plated it up. The last thing that we're gonna do is get a little more cheese on top. We're gonna broil this for just a moment. You could do breadcrumbs, you could add whatever you want on top. But I like cheese with my cheese. All right, moment of truth. Let's break into this. It's creamy, cheesy, with a warm hint of pumpkin and a little bit of spice. This is so comforting and perfect for fall dinners or even Thanksgiving, which is right around the corner. This would pair perfect with like some roasted vegetables. Either way, thanks for tuning into my kitchen. If you try this pumpkin mac and cheese recipe, tag me. I want to see your creations. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.